A pleasure to meet y'all at last, and welcome back to Super Foam Flying. Personally, I feel a little more excited about what 2022 certainly had to offer. I felt even more ecstatic when I actually got to talk about some of the blasters. Here's one that I feel like has been the most significant of that year so far. The Dino Squad Raptor Slash. This is basically the Dino Squad variation of a Maverick or strong arm based blaster. A Rev blaster with a handle on top and a 6-dart cylinder. Except this one in particular has a large handguard on it, so I feel like that it also mimics the design of the rival Arrows. If you want to call it Roundhouse, that's just up to you at this point, but in any case, they each do have their own pros and cons. This one I feel like though does have a few more pros in it than ever, because apart from it being as basic as you could possibly get with a Maverick Rev 6 or Strong Arm or Disruptor, or if you remember when they made reskins in 2021, they made 3 Disruptors in 3 different color schemes. I ended up buying the red version, which I simply refer to as the Transcender. And the Transcender did in fact have some pros that were well above the original Disruptor blaster, but in this particular case, a Rev blaster that happens to mimic the looks of a Velociraptor, including the little frills on top, the teeth, the eyes, and just by looking at the front right here, just seems to mimic the jawline of a raptor if you were to look at it in the eyes. In any case though, having a Maverick blaster with a handguard on it that's superbly well done in terms of its curvaceous feel, and not to mention a smaller prime handle, so it's not quite as generous as some of the others, but nonetheless, the most important thing is that it performs with absolute wild abandon. And that's probably not what you might expect, too much at least, for something like this. Yet, if you wanted to go at it even further, then let's just say Slamfire is equipped onto this baby as well. And well, that just pretty much concludes the overall firing performance test that I have, especially at a small studio room like this. But in any case, I do feel like that other than the detailing, this being the 4th blaster in the dart blasting series, as Hasbro did release a few Super Soakers in the line as well, don't really know if I'd ever be able to talk about Super Soakers here by any means, because there could be some complications with trying to find some good ways to explore this variety of content. Yet I will say though that apart from the Super Soaker variation of the Dino Squad lineup, the dart blasting variation that we've had so far with, well, we still don't have that many blasters in the series, but yet we are in fact looking forward to what they will have to offer later on, because so far, with blasters that have imitated the likes of various dinosaur species from the T-Rex, Raptor, Triceratops, Dilophosaurus, and Stegosaurus, this one in particular does in fact seem to be probably a little bit better than even that of the Stego Smash, which you can also see right here in the background. And so that pretty much puts this thing at even higher rankings than what you might expect for me to give. And I don't really know if I might ever come back with Tears of the Clown based content. Maybe I could reconsider, because considering how some of the lineups I've talked about are in fact getting a little bigger these days, it's safe to say that they might be eligible for some more Tears of the Clown based content, or tier lists as a whole. And so, with that in mind, that's just technically how I feel about this one as a whole. The Raptor Slash is impressive. It's got a nice color scheme to it, beautiful Raptor looks, astounding performances, and probably some of the best ergonomics that I might have ever felt when it comes to operating the handle on top and by holding onto the grip itself. Never would have felt like this would actually be as innovative and as appropriate to my feel and liking as possible. And so with that in mind, that's just pretty much all that I have to offer on this in general, because all I got left to say about it is it's probably the best by far. Which is saying a lot considering how 2022 was only the second year of the lineup itself. And Nerf did start off with a bang, but they sure made it blow even more in 2022, which definitely has a lot of strong connections between the kind of things that we had in 2021, as horrifyingly bad as they were. The year 2022 somehow proved to redeem everything. Somehow. Despite a lot of problems that we still had to learn to overcome, mostly on a political basis. But in any ways, I will say the Raptor Slash is definitely worth a pickup. If you can find one out there, then I suggest that you go ahead and spend your hard-earned 16 bucks on one as soon as you can. And with that in mind, if you want to see more go down on my channel, then make sure that you like, subscribe, comment, follow me on social media, and stay on the Hollywood side.